Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. So last week we had an all tribal Against the Odds poll, and it was Mir coming in first place by quite a ways actually. So this week we are heading to Modern to play a deck I'm calling To Myrfinity and Beyond. Basically, we are looking to go infinite in all different ways with our Mir. The thing with Mir is they only do one thing really well, and that one thing is they make mana. So if we're going to be playing all these Mir that are bad at every single other thing, attacking and blocking and having enter the battlefield abilities, we might as well take advantage of what they do well and try to go infinite with the mana they can produce. So a quick reminder before we break down the deck: if you enjoy Against the Odds and you enjoy this To Myrfinity and Beyond deck, it would be amazing of you if you could take a quick second, click that subscribe button down in the corner of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk Myrfinity. So first off, we have our Mir. As I mentioned a minute ago, what Mir do is make mana. So kind of the most common Mir in all of Magic are the mana Mir. So these are 2 mana 1/1s. They're artifacts, and they tap to make a mana of a certain color. So gold Mir makes white mana, silver Mir blue mana, iron Mir makes red mana, copper Mir makes green mana. So we're mostly focused on the gold Mir and the silver Mir because our deck actually kind of wants white and blue mana, especially blue, but a little white too. So altogether, we have 13 2-drop mana Mir. So we hopefully are going to play at least 2 of these, maybe 3 of these, and we need at least 2 and possibly 3 on the battlefield to be able to go infinite with some of our other cards. We also have Palladium Mir, which is nice because it taps to make 2 mana. It's a little more expensive as a 3-drop, but tapping to make 2 mana means if we need 3 mana worth of mana Mir to go infinite, we can get there with just a Palladium Mir and 1 of our 2-drop Mir instead of having 3 Mir on the battlefield. It gives us the ability to be able to combo off with less cards altogether. Then we have kind of the master of Mir, Padim Council of Invocation. So this is basically a way to protect our Mir. Our Mir are super fragile. Not only do they die to pretty much any spot removal, they die to artifact removal as well. So there's a lot of things that kills our Mir. Padim, though, gives all of our Mir hexproof, which makes it a lot harder for our opponent to kill them. We can still get got by a Wrath effect, an Anger of the Gods, a Pyroclasm, but our opponent's not going to be able to Lightning Bolt and Lightning Helix and Path to Exile our Mir away. Also, if our Padim's sitting out on the battlefield, it usually draws us an extra card. Since most decks don't really play many artifacts, even one of our 2 mana Mir will likely give us the highest converted mana cost artifact on the battlefield. So we're likely going to get to draw an extra card every turn, which helps us set up our combo pieces. So let's talk about some of the combos. Our easiest combo, or most straightforward, is Mir Galvanizer. We need 2 of them though. That's why we see 2 here. So the way this combo works is if we can get 2 Mir Galvanizers on the battlefield with at least 2 mana worth of other Mirs, so a single Palladium Mir, 2 of our 2-drop Mirs, we can use the Mir Galvanizers. We tap all our Mirs for mana, make at least 2 mana, then we use 1 of that mana to use Mir Galvanizer to untap all of our other Mirs. So that's going to untap our mana Mir. We tap them again for all the mana. Say it's 2 more mana. We use 1 of that mana to use the second Mir Galvanizer to untap all other Mirs, which not only untaps our mana Mirs, but also the tap Mir Galvanizer. So basically, we just keep tapping and untapping the Mir Galvanizers, netting mana as we go through this process. So that's kind of the most straightforward way we can combo off. Let's say we get to go infinite. We have the right combination of stuff to make an infinite amount of mana, Mir Infinite. What do we do with this mana? Well, we have some options here. So Muddle the Mixture is a key card in our deck. So Muddle the Mixture not only can counter a Wrath, for example, an Anger of the Gods that's going to kill all of our Mir, but it allows us to transmute. So we can pay 3, discard it, and search for another 2-drop. And this does a couple different things, and we're going to talk about muddle more when we talk about our next combo because it's really key to that. But if we go infinite with Myr, we can muddle for a Train of Thought, which is a 2-mana card draw spell, but it has Replicate, so you can copy that spell any number of times, as many times as you pay the Replicate cost. So if we have infinite mana, we can draw our entire deck with Train of Thought after muddling for it, and then when we draw our entire deck, one of those cards will be Blue Sun Zenith, and we have infinite mana, so we just make an infinite amount of mana, target our opponent with the Blue Sun Zenith, with X being more than the number of cards in their library, and our opponent will draw their entire deck and die to drawing an empty library. So that's kind of the plan. Infinite mana with our Myr, muddle the mixture for our single Train of Thought to draw our entire deck, including our Blue Sun Zenith, draw our opponent out of the game with our infinite Blue Sun Zenith. However, since we're playing Muddle the Mixture, we have a second infinite combo, which is pretty sweet. So we can also muddle for 2 different cards, Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal. So this is another way that we can go infinite with our mana Myr, and even go infinite in another way, which is super awesome. Not only can we go infinite in mana, we can also make infinite creatures and tutor every Myr out of our library. So here's the idea. If we're not going infinite with our Myr Galvanizers, we muddle for an Isochron Scepter or a Dramatic Reversal. Hopefully we have one in our hand, we muddle for the one we're missing, and then we can play Isochron Scepter. We will imprint the Dramatic Reversal, and that means we have an Isochron Scepter that basically lets us pay 2 mana to cast a Dramatic Reversal. We have to tap it, but pay 2 and tap it, cast Dramatic Reversal. That's going to untap all of our stuff, so hopefully we have at least 2 mana of Mana Myrs. It also untaps our Isochron Scepter, so then we can use the mana from the Mana Myrs again to use Isochron Scepter again, to cast Dramatic Reversal again, to untap the Isochron Scepter, along with all our Myrs again, to use the Myr mana. You see what I'm saying? Basically, with 2 mana, we can cast Dramatic Reversal an infinite number of times. 2 mana from Myrs. It doesn't untap lands, but 2 Myr mana. Then we can cast Dramatic Reversal an infinite number of times. If we have at least 3 mana, say for an example a Palladium Myr and a Golden Myr, then we can actually gain an infinite amount of mana while we're doing this, because we spend 2 to untap everything, and we're tapping for 3, so every time we go through that loop we gain a mana, almost like the Myr Galvanizer plan. The really sweet part about this, though, is Myr Turbine, which gives us another infinite combo. So we can go infinite mana with Galvanizer, infinite mana with Dramatic Reversal, but say for an example, this is our board. We have a Palladium Myr on the battlefield, Scepter with a Dramatic Reversal, we get our Myr Turbine, we can tap our Palladium Myr for 2 mana, use it to cast our Dramatic Reversal from under Isochron Scepter. That's going to untap everything, including our Myr Turbine, which lets us tap to make a 1/1 colorless Myr artifact creature token. So we tap Turbine, make a 1/1, untap everything, use the Palladium Myr mana, cast Dramatic Reversal, make another 1/1 with Myr Turbine, keep tapping and untapping. As we go through this process, we're going to be able to untap Myr Turbine an infinite number of times, and after we get a bunch of Myrs on the battlefield, instead of making a 1/1 token, we can tap 5 Myrs along with Myr Turbine and tutor something out of our library. So we can get all 4 of our Galvanizers, all of our Palladium Myrs, every single Myr in our deck on the battlefield. So infinite Myr tokens getting pumped up huge by Galvanizers, and it sets up the infinite mana combo for the following turn if we don't have it, because we can get all our Palladium Myrs and all of our other Mana Myrs. So we just go infinite in all different kinds of ways with this deck. As far as the mana base, Inventor's Fair allows us another way to tutor up an artifact, gains us some life, a bunch of blue-white duels, some islands and plains. You're probably wondering why we're playing plains. Well, that's because of the sideboard. We do have Leyline of Sanctity, but we also have 4 copies of Silence, and Silence is another combo with our Isochron Scepter. Silence says your opponent can't cast spells this turn. It's a 1-mana instant. If we get that on an Isochron Scepter, we can, every one of our opponent's turns on their upkeep, cast a Silence. Our opponent just can't cast spells forever, unless it's an instant, but we have it in the sideboard because in some matchups it's awesome. If our opponent's just tapping out for creatures at sorcery speed, there's really not much they can do about Silence. It's almost a hard lock. On the other hand, if our opponent has a lot of instant speed interaction, it's not that good. So we kind of bring this in certain matchups where it feels like it's really going to disrupt our opponent. Other matchups, we leave it in the sideboard. We also have some counters: Cryptic, Negate, Dispel, to protect our combos, make sure our opponent can't kill kill our Mirror, kill our Isochron Scepter. We have Echoing Truth, primarily to bounce Stony Silence, which would be a really big problem. Dismember for removal, and of course, it's against the odds, so a single bribery, in case we run into Tron or something, we can maybe steal an Emrakul or an Ulamog from our opponent. So that is to Myrfinity and beyond. Basically, infinite mirror combos in Modern. And that's our against the odds for this week. So, is this going to work? Probably not. We have so many combos that I hope maybe we can brute force our way through and actually pull them off eventually. The biggest problem, well, there's a couple big problems. One is everything's artifacts, and because of Affinity and even Tron, most decks come prepared to deal with artifacts, if not in the main deck, then in the sideboard. So we're going to pick up on a lot of fringe hate. Padim will help protect our stuff, counters in the sideboard help, but if our opponent just slams a Stony Silence on turn 2, we're kinda in rough shape for being able to do anything or ever combo off. So that's one problem. Also, while we can theoretically go infinite pretty quick, we can play like a Mana Mirror on turn 2, maybe Palladium Mirror on turn 3, on turn 4, we could Scepter with a dramatic reversal and go infinite. It requires a very specific number of cards, and all those cards are fragile. So there's going to be a lot of times, I think, where we get close to comboing off, but then a single lightning bolt can blow us out, even a counter spell, a bounce spell. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but we have a lot of ways to set up our combo. There's a lot of redundancy because we have so many 2-drop mirrors that we're going to keep drawing them even if our opponent kills them. And then we have quite a few ways, considering the 4 Muddle the Mixtures, to set up our combo. We can use that to tutor for another 2-mana mirror if we need it. We can tutor for the Scepter. We can tutor for the dramatic reversal. So we can kind of tutor for whatever piece we're missing, so hopefully we're fairly consistent with setting up the combo, even if it's going to be fragile, and we're probably going to lose a decent amount of matches because of the fragility. Anyway, that's our Against the Odds deck for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the gameplay videos, and I will talk to you soon.